All right, gang, I have some good news. First and foremost, you guys have really cranked it out for Subscribestar and Patreon. A lot of people who are sort of casually watching sort of stepped up and took responsibility for keeping the show running. And also, a lot of people have been doing some stretch funding in order to make sure the show's available for other people that are maybe like unable to support or too young to support or whatever. Thank you guys for being sort of our bulwark against winding the show down. I want to say very clearly that we're at no threat right now of ending the show. Everything's very stable. That's been lovely. That's with or without what I'm about to say next. What happens next is that we had the Lewis gun video pulled. That has been restored. And about 18 hours or so after that, our monetization on the channel seems to have come back. I say seems to have for very specific reasons. So I know a lot of you are going to be curious about this. For those of you who are on Subscribestar or Patreon, May and I have a longer conversation about this already recorded. It's going up over there. Check it out. The short answer is our friends over at CloverTac hooked us up with someone at YouTube who is not part of this review process, but at least is in the same vicinity, has access to some internal communications. So I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about this person because it is just an individual. I should probably check on that. But regardless, he was very kind, listened to the issue, checked internally for us, and then that kicked off another internal review, which apparently cleared us. And I keep saying that word apparent because whenever the channel went down, we had no strikes. We had no emails. I mean, I don't know if we had a strike. I don't know if strikes show up somewhere in the back end. I've just never seen a strike, but I have no emails that tell me I have a strike. I had no emails telling me that I was demonetized though, or that my video had been removed. And then when everything came back online, again, no emails. So it's all just sort of like, I know what's happened because it has happened. There's been no explanation around it. The demonetization was supposedly for a firearms policy that we did not feel we were in violation of. I assume the fact that we're back means that I was correct, that we were not in violation of that policy. I have asked if there's any way we can get some feedback on how this may have happened or how to avoid it or, who to talk to normally. The only thing I do know for certain is that there is a YouTube help group on Twitter. Like you can tweet at the YouTube support team, but we do not have a Twitter, so that was not going to be an easy option for us. We used to, and then we gave it up because honestly, Twitter just became a lightning rod for bad vibes. So we just got off that platform. Internal to YouTube, I'm not sure how this is supposed to be handled. There's not a internal communication method, and I did not end up with any email contact that would be sort of publicly accessible. So a bit tricky on the communication front, probably something they need to clean up pretty badly. At the same time, our friend through YouTube has assured me that they're actually trying to be as open a platform as possible while also working with the concerns of like advertisers and the other people who bring the money to the platform. And therein lies the conflict. There's a lot to be said for that, but again, I have a longer conversation about that available to the people that are actually sort of putting it on the show. So on that note, I will say YouTube has never been more than 7% of our financial support for the show. We briefly courted trying to make more on YouTube advertising by targeting the way people do business on YouTube. We met with some success on that this last Christmas. And then we were immediately demonetized after that. So it's kind of like the first time I put weight on that foot, it kind of fell through. So we are going to turn our attention straight back to really working Patreon, Subscribestar, merchandise, that sort of thing. So if you are a supporter on those fronts, that's going to be the backbone of the show. If you are willing to support over there, those dollars are being put towards, especially right now, stabilization and expansion, because we're in a period where most businesses would be thinking like angel investor. We've hit our stride, and now we need to lock it down and fill in where we know we're weak so that we can make more, like new shows. It'd be pretty exciting. For those of you concerned about Anvil, they are getting their own channel. We're still working with Mark. We still share Bruno. It's all the same relationship. However, being able to separate them makes it easier to clarify when stuff like this comes up. Also, Mark owns Anvil outright. And I'm starting to get a lot of like emails and other interactions where people are getting confused about his gunsmithing business versus C&Rsenal versus me. And it's honestly like, don't forget, Mark's core money comes from actually working on guns. We need to make sure that that line of communication is clear. So we're just going to go ahead and get these shows separated out anyway. It's going to work out better for everybody, we believe. So do check in on Mark. I'll have a link to his new channel again in the description. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for the continued support. Have a good one.